even if people are differing on the transient details of this ET group is from so-and-so and does such and such, when and where, the core really is, are you hearing this in your heart? Are you understanding that humanity is going through an evolution and that you are a part of that evolution? And that the more loving you are, the faster we get the future that we all want. That is the core. And anybody who is contributing to that awakening, in my mind, is a valuable ally.
Thank you.
That's brilliant, David. That's fantastic. Just for the people on listening to the PIR stream, we're going to disconnect now because obviously you have your show with Vin, but we will just carry on for the next few minutes on the OAM United We Strike stream so people can just listen up. We're just going to be finishing up now, but David, that was brilliant. I was going to say, do you want to summarise about everything and what would be your take, but what you've just said there is just fantastic, is to, for people to focus on, service to others and to focus on the love and to try and raise the consciousness and educate people as much as they can. I mean, that's a great message.
Let me just toss in one more thing, Alan, real briefly, and then I'll hand it to Corey again. A lot of people, one of the most prevalent things that we're seeing on the comments in terms of the hate that we're getting is everybody is saying, there's one guy who even said, proof, right? And everybody's like, you got to prove it, you got to prove it, you got to set up a camera in Corey's bedroom, and when the blue orbs come in, and portal him out of his bedroom, you got to film that, and then you got to put it online. It's like, no, dude. If we filmed it, if we could, which they probably wouldn't allow us to because of the Prime Directive anyway, everybody's going to say we did it in After Effects.
Yeah.
It's not about the proof, and it's not about defeating the cabal through some sort of Hollywood grand finale ending where you see a bunch of guns blaring and UFOs showing up in the sky and portaling Rothschilds up into space. That's not what this is going to be. What we are actually seeing is a consciousness revolution. And Corey said it before, but people really need to understand this. No level of proof is going to satisfy you if your heart is not open.
Yeah.
No level of information is going to get you to make today a special day where you decide to be more loving to those who care about you and those who you interact with. That is a choice that you have to make. Please don't get caught up in all the little details. And we have people, when somebody like Corey comes out, they obsess on him, or somebody like Cobra, and they're looking at every little detail. And, well, Cobra said this, and Corey didn't say that, and David is saying such and such. And, look, really, at the end of the day, I got into the UFO field. I wanted to gain information. I was hungry for information. And what eventually happened is that the beings that I was in contact with said, David, we don't want to answer all these questions. We're concerned about you eating the right food. We're concerned about the fact that you worry all the time. You have nothing to worry about. What we really want is for you to meditate, to relax, and to be kind. And if you do that, then everything is going to work out. And when they were telling me that, I was working for $5.70 an hour, $5.77 an hour, 2 cents above minimum wage, which as if that was some kind of gratuitous thing that they were doing for us. Oh, yeah, we're giving you 2 cents more than the minimum. And I was working at that point in a room with developmentally disabled people, 12 or 13 adults who had severe developmental disabilities, who had behavior problems, who were taking their excrement and smearing it on the wall and screaming and biting each other and running around, and we had to basically act as umpires. And I was doing that work at minimum wage because I wanted to help. And yet the job that I was in was causing me tremendous anxiety. I would come home at night and have the screaming in my head and have to just lie in bed in the dark until the screaming stopped. And that's when contact with me was made. That's when I contacted these higher beings. And my life looked like it was crap. My life looked like it was never going to get better. I only made $200 a week. All my money went to rent and food. And the being said, David, you got to stop worrying. You got to calm down. You got to get your life under control. If you follow this message, everything is going to be okay. And now my life is completely different, and I can hardly even remember what that life was like back then. And it's because I trusted the core of all world religions, which is service to others and compassion.
Yeah.
And that is the core of the message. If you follow that, everything in your life will work out as if by magic. There are higher forces who are obligated to take care of you as long as you adhere to the core of the message of peace and love and forgiveness. And how in the hell can that be Illuminati disinformation?
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, if it's all about what resonates with you, and just, keep away from certain energies that will affect your energy. And it's not new age mumbo jumbo. This is logical stuff. I mean, I do the same thing, and Steve does the same thing. We just avoid things that pull down our energy, and that's really,
Absolutely.
That's what we do. I mean, that's not new agey. That's just common sense. Right, okay. Brilliant. Well,
here's the deal. The earlier question that you asked, this is the other very common thread that we get in the hate, which is, this is disinformation, this is the cabal lulling us into a false sense of security, wanting us to be sucking our thumbs and drooling in our beds, thinking that God is going to take care of it and everything's fine, so that the cabal can actually go around and finish the job of killing off the planet. But what Corey said earlier cannot be stressed enough. There are rules in place in the universe, and everybody I've spoken to who works for the cabal knows about the rules. They have to tell us what they're doing. They cannot just randomly take over the planet. They have to tell us that they're enslaving us. They have to tell us what their magical practices are. They have to show us what they're doing in movies, in television shows, in acts of government, in media headlines. They have to tell us the truth. The reason why that is because, believe me, they would prefer to just do whatever they want and never tell us anything, but there are benevolent beings that prevent them from doing that. That means, ultimately, we have to be enslaved by our own free will. Now, these people get into that as if it was a football game and they're rooting for their side. What they don't realize is the free will principle is built in so that we naturally defeat them at the end of the cycle. And that's built into the architecture of spirituality, which is called the hero's journey. My second book, The Synchronicity Key, talks about history repeating in cycles and that it follows a script. The script involves the villain being defeated by the hero once the hero conquers his own flaws. Everyone on earth now is the awakening Christ. Everyone on earth is the Messiah. Everyone on earth is awakening to the core of who and what they are, and the more we move in that direction, the more it is automatic that the negative will be defeated. It's written into the blueprint of our own cosmic evolution. This is not a false flag. This is not Illuminati disinformation. The core of consciousness awakening is a scientific fact. It's provable. 7,000 people can get together and meditate and reduce terrorism worldwide by 72%. That's documented evidence. And that's the core of the message. It's not a negative message. We're not trying to say that you shouldn't take action against the cabal either. You can simultaneously be loving and forgiving and be proactive in spreading awareness about the cabal and the heinous things they're doing. Both those things can coexist. I'm not telling you to sit at home and be complacent. I think it's wonderful that the Irish people have had such a massive uprising against an unfair water tax. I had no idea that was going on. I encourage that kind of stuff. Yeah. I am very politically active. I wrote a whole book called Financial Tyranny about the cabal exposing their wrongdoings, and that's one of the things that attracted Corey into the fray in the first place.
Yeah, and it's been peaceful as well. We've been making sure, the protesters have been making sure that it's peaceful. That there's no trouble.
That's wonderful.
And obviously you have some people that infiltrate and try and cause problems, but, they would not be the peaceful protesters. That's all kind of predetermined by certain people in government trying to rouse the crowd, rise up the crowd, But generally, all the protests have been peaceful, and for that reason. And any time there is trouble, the protesters actually walk away from the people who are causing the trouble, the instigators, and basically they're kind of. It's obvious that they're not part of the crowd, But listen, guys, it's been brilliant.
Let's give Corey just a brief chance to respond to what I said, because that is the core of his message, too, and I want to make sure he can get that out.
Yeah, of course, Corey.
Yeah, absolutely. David covered it very well. And the core message, every day, become more loving, become more forgiving of others and yourself. It stops the wheel of karma, to become more service to others, to raise your vibration, and your consciousness. You don't have to change your religion. You can use prayer, yoga, tai chi, meditation, whatever you use now. All this information is not new. It's the tenets of all the religions out there. And to be service to others doesn't mean you have to be a floor mat to others. So that's how I would end it. David covered it beautifully.
That's great information. I totally agree. I kind of say love is the answer. Who cares what the question is? And that's what it is, because it's energy, isn't it? It's a love energy. I mean, two energies, two emotions, love or fear. Which one do you want?
Everything's vibration and energy.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. Okay, lads, well, listen, it's been brilliant having you on. I think we're going to have to do a part 2. I know you guys are very busy and you're in demand, but it's just brilliant information to have it over here for our listeners over here in Ireland and the UK, to hear you come on the show and talk about this information. It's really very uplifting and promising for the future for all of us. So a big thank you for coming on. I'm going to pass you off to Steve, and Steve's going to get all your details so people will find out where to get you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Corey, David, again, I want to echo what Alan said there. It has been absolutely mind-blowing information. There's so many people on the chat rooms there, so many questions, there's a lot of questions that we couldn't get to. But unfortunately, that's just the way it works out. And we've actually gone overtime. We normally kind of disconnect at 9 o'clock, but we've actually gone overtime. So we're going to definitely have to do a second part. But I do have information here that I have posted up in the chat rooms as well, and that is Corey's website there, sphericalbeingalliance.com, and David's website, divinecosmos.com. We'll throw it over to you first, Corey. Do you want to maybe give some more information there, or have any closing statements you want to make?
Sphericalbeingalliance.com will get you pretty much to everything, all of my information. And I basically spoke about, the message of, loving and forgiving. So I'm good.
Okay, thank you. And David?
I would like to say Corey came over to my house in late April, and we filmed 6 hours of me interviewing him on video. Some of the footage is very strong. Some of it is not as strong. It did kind of serve for Corey as like a camera test to figure out what works and what doesn't work. A lot of people are going to be angry when they hear that we have a show that is now forming on Guy TV. There's going to be a separate show that's just Corey and me talking every week for a whole year for a half an hour. That is going to be available to every subscriber. The basic rate is $9.95 a month. A lot of people have been complaining that we don't have PayPal. The president of Gaiam told me in a meeting on Friday that PayPal functionality will be turned on within apparently a very short time, maybe as little as a week or less. So that's going to be really good for people in Europe who don't want to use a credit card. So the hue and cry of all the people that are saying, why the hell hasn't David released the video yet? He's sequestering information. He's hiding the truth. Look, it's very simple. I don't have a lot of money. I can't pay anybody to help me. I'm doing this myself. I've been learning all the software. I'm learning Adobe After Effects, Adobe Premiere Pro. I've made significant progress. I do intend to release some of the strongest parts of what he and I talked about in a video. And no matter how much of that I released, it's not even going to begin to cover what we already did this